All right, so what we're going to talk about today, as Ryan said, we're going to take you through kind of the UI, kind of the customer experience. And in that, we're going to actually do some transactions itself. The last time we did a little bit of an overview as to, what the S4 user experience looks like. And we're going to hit on a couple different topics here as we're going through this. One is, obviously, we have a field service management solution. When you have the S4 ERP implemented, the service calls and all of that can originate in S4 itself. You notice I say the word can. It doesn't have to. The field service management module can actually be implemented standalone and then integrated at a later time with ERP if that's the case. So just wanted to, as I'm going through the demonstration, you're going to see me in two different user interfaces. One is kind of the back office, and then the other is more very service and field service oriented. So just give you a sneak peek. Here is the user interface for the S4. It has all of the key elements of field service, such as having service contracts, having service quotations, creating service order templates for the different types of services that you may want to standardize, creating maintenance plans for, on properties as you need to create them and then schedule those as part of the service process. So there's a whole lot in here. We're not going to dive into depth. This is just kind of a skim across the top type demonstration today. Where we'll spend a fair amount of time is in the SAP Field Service Management module. So as you can see, this is a different user interface. Looks very much the same, but it's intended to be very light and very responsive to the field service type organization. So the various areas that you can get into, right? We'll talk a lot about planning and dispatching. Zach will actually go through, we're going to create a service order. We're going to look at the service order. We're going to dispatch it to a particular technician. Zach is going to walk us through actually confirming that on the handheld. We'll watch that data come back into the field service management module, look at everything that's happened with it, and then chat about what needs to happen with it after that fact. So we have the planning and the dispatching. You do have the ability to set up smart forms and feedback, meaning that as you watch Zach execute, you're going to actually see him call up a form that shows the customer or whoever the responsible person is on site what tasks and activities were performed, and the ability to capture the signature as a point of confirmation. Of course, you have analytics and reporting. You do have the master data. So there is the capability within the system to establish all the master data that you need if you choose to set it up kind of prior to the S4 ERP to be able to stand that up and be able to use the system. You have settings and configurations. Of course, as we've talked about S4 and field service management, it's not a programming exercise. The implementation is a configuration exercise. You do have a partner portal for your business partners to be able to enter in their own service requests. And then there's just some other kind of fancy apps that are in this demo environment that I won't dwell on. But let's start this out with just going in and creating a service order. And I'm going to do this through the lens of S4 right now. So I'm going to go into manage service orders. And what this is going to do is allow me to have a view of all of my service orders. I have different ways that I can filter them. So right out of the box, it's showing me all, any that aren't assigned to a particular technician, all the open ones, any that are open that don't have any service against them, and those that are open that have had confirmations, what we call confirmations, which is actually the execution and delivery of the service. And then you have you're keeping track of those that are also billable. And as you can see from a graphical perspective, it's giving you a good look at the life cycle status on each one of these. You'll see that in this demo environment, we do a lot with Savant Industries, and that's who we'll use. But you can see it's giving you just heads up information that it's open, it's actually in process, it's been released, and actually has been completed in the field. So as we take a look at this one, it's completed all the way through the billing process. But let's go take a look at what it takes to actually enter a service order. So what I'm going to do is we'll just go and open up the service order. When I show you opening a service order in the field service module, you're going to see a very similar look and feel. So I'm going to say, I'm going to be very specific so we can see this description and keep track of it. Install pump on site. I'm going to select a sold to party. So who is the customer that we're going to look at? And as I promised, we'd be looking at using Cibant Industries. As you take a look at it, you can have the same customer with lots of different addresses, which may be kind of your case. You know, it may be addresses through a franchisee. It might be addresses in a given state, etc. However you choose to kind of set up that business partner master is what's gonna work for you. It's going to have a requested start and end date. You can see that I'm working in a demo environment that's shared by multiple partners, so it's actually using the European date format. Obviously, in the U.S., we'll have that as a regular date format, and then I'm going to select my different products that I'm going to do here. So there we are. So I'm going to go with an installation service. So we're going to go and install a pump. And with that, we're also going to use some materials associated with that too. So I can go in and say, hey, I need to, I don't know, we're going to bring an extension tube with us on this particular project. So really quick and easy. It's all tied together in terms of a material master. It's in looking at service contracts that you have in place and setting up different service items. You can see you can hit the life cycle status here. So if you're good right from here, you could go ahead and release this, and then it would be out into the dispatch board. But what I want to do is just quickly go in and save and edit this particular service order. What it's going to do is just open up a more detailed service order screen. And what it's doing is I have a number of different service contracts with this particular customer. I have yearly maintenance, I have calibrations, I have all kinds of different types of contracts. So what I'm going to do is just select one of them. So now it's going to use that service contract. The reason that it's doing that is it wants to be able to associate a service call with a service contract. And what that does is that just gets us to the point where it's setting up the price details associated with this particular service call. So coming up to be $31 for this particular service call. That's a pretty cheap one. And then any kind of billing rules that would be associated with it too. So what it's doing is it's setting up and taking all of the data from that service contract and bringing it directly onto the service order itself. I also have the ability to identify the functional location, and what I can do is take a look at any of the equipment that's been assigned to this particular customer already, or that we want to assign and take out of inventory and deliver as part of this. So I'm going to just select that piece of equipment. That's my multi-eco 33i, very efficient circulating pump. And then I'm going to say, hey, you know what? I'm good. I'm happy with this. Let me go ahead and release that. And I'll save that. And now what that's going to do is save. It'll go ahead and reopen that. And you can see that right in the system, it's already starting to keep track of the life cycle status, right? It was open, it's in process, and we've assigned it. It's released. We haven't assigned it yet. And then it's just giving me some kind of a graphical overview of the price overview, the duration, how long it's planned for, the gross value, etc. So that's how things exist in the ERP itself. And it's something we really like to make sure that we're demonstrating, because it really is very seamless in terms of when you want to have the two systems work together. Now that service order has been entered, it's been released. Let's go into planning and dispatching. What we're going to do is go into the dispatching board itself. And what you'll see is that I have, you can see right off the bat, hey, it brought that service order over. Zach installed pump on site. It, it's drag and drop scheduling. You do have the ability to obviously have multiple technicians. I also like to make the point that you have different teams that you can create. So I have an emergency team, a people and team. Maybe this would be a team by state. It might be a team by discipline or profession. Maybe it's electrical, maybe it's a plumbing, maybe it's HVAC teams that you want to put together. But you can certainly do that, group your people and then view what their availability is. Because what this is doing is and again, this is very responsive and able to be moved and used the way that you want. So you can imagine this on a large screen like we saw when we were at the site. You had a couple of very large screens that people were working on. It would be very handy to have that. But as you can see, this Brian Paulson, which is who Zach is going to be, has a number of different activities that have been associated with him and assigned to him. And we'll go through that in just a little bit. A couple things that I wanted to make sure I pointed out. So I did tell you that you could have the master data maintained through the field service module itself. Just wanted to give you a quick peek into what some of that data is. So here we have our customers, we have our contacts, we have service contracts, any of the equipment, tools that are used, items, people. You can even keep track of skills. Is their licensing up to date? In which states is their licensing up to date? All this criteria upon which you might want to have to be able to assign somebody, you can keep track of in the system. So, if I take a look at a person, and if I look at Brian Paulson, you will see that Brian has, a very handsome look and feel to him. And you're going to see that this system can work in any language. Let me go ahead and just change things to English. There we go. And you can see you can see the addresses. You can see whether you can also have internal resources, external resources, etc. So, and then you can keep track of various skills associated with them. Again, I made mention of the crews, that you can build your own crews. And be able to have crew sizes, capacities, required skills, etc. So lots of very robust capabilities in terms of setting up the data to really facilitate the activities that are going on. Other point I wanted to make is that in the FSM solution, you saw that the service call came over from S4. So that's our 6857. But I also, and we'll be in and out of the screen a little bit because this is a good way to be able to view the service orders as well. I can enter a service order from here. So really 3 different ways that service orders can get in. You have a portal which your customers can enter service orders. You can enter a service order through here directly, or when the ERP is up and running, you can go ahead and enter it through there. So you're going to see, I'm not going to go ahead and enter one here, but you can see that all the fields are very much the same. We have the subject, who the partner is, what the status is, what the origin was, kind of scheduling to do and release and dates. The other thing I wanted to make a point of is you can also have projects set up within FSM. So if it's a construction project, a site development project, and then you have service tickets against that, you can track those against the project as well. I'm going to take a breath. Are there any questions up to this point?
Quick question. Would this be the same if we wanted to do some internal IT tickets or tracking, like somebody's having an IT problem and we have that internally? Would we be able to use a similar or build it into the system to be able to navigate that internally?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. And would that be, I'm guessing, like our service equipment, or actually not our service equipment, like our manufacturing equipment? If we need tickets for that, would that be run through this as well?
Was
Yeah,
that different?
you
Is
can
it?
consider
Okay.
this, internal service. plant maintenance as well as, external service. It really is, it's a tool that you can configure to your own use, right? So your equipment that you have can be, the stamping machine 3 or the, heat treater 4 or, whatever the pieces of equipment are. And your customer would be yourself, right? If you had external customers, obviously those are going to be external customers. And then you can have, you have the people. It doesn't matter who the people are, right? You're just essentially describing who they are, what skills they have. And the system has the ability to use AI and intelligence to be able to automatically assign people to tasks if you want. We're going to show the manual way of doing it, but there is the ability to go ahead and leverage a lot of that type. So a customer is a customer, whether it's an external customer or you as a customer internally or a stakeholder internally that's creating an IT ticket. Hopefully I didn't
Okay.
over answer that question.
No, that's great. Is that how you would recommend doing this for like preventative maintenance? Let's say we're talking externally right now. If we sell a preventative maintenance plan to somebody and we need to go and service the air conditioner twice a year, would you set those tickets up in this system that they're reoccurring and that they would produce work orders for them?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drill into that service call for just a minute, just to take a look at the anatomy of it and be able to, once Zach actually executes on it, we'll take a look at it again. But you can see here's all the information that came over or was entered. You have the ability to take a look at the equipment. So that's the pump we're going to install. The activities, which is an installation service. Again, these are all things that we set up with you as part of implementation, right? What your service items are, what your pieces of equipment are, things like that. Smart form skills that are required. They need to have pump installation. They must be familiar with the CBON site. They must know how to do a pump replacement, and they must be fluent in English. Any reserved materials. So it's saying, hey, you know what? You said when you set the service order up that they needed to take some extension tubes. This could be a whole list of things, right? And it can be tools associated with it as well. Important to understand that when integrated with the ERP, if those materials you have to order them, it's going to automatically kick off a purchase requisition and go through a procure to pay flow as well. Any attachments, which we'll again see come back when Zach executes, and then the history. So you're always able to see a good history of what went on. In this case, right now we just created it. So, nothing super fancy, but just wanted to show you. And then you can get insights. So this is where some of the generative AI components will come in, and we'll take a look at that in just a little bit. So let's, what everybody likes to see is, well, how do I dispatch? Well, I could go ahead and open that thing up and schedule, assign it to somebody. But in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just assign it to Brian Paulson, aka Zach. And what it's going to do is say, hey, you know what? It looks like based on his calendar, he's potentially available. It's creating this activity, which is 8233. But he's missing English. But you know what? Who cares? We're not going to ask him to talk to anybody. We're going to go ahead and plan that anyway. So now we've got that out there. So you can see there, it's giving us that information. It's actually giving a service address as well. So as part of setting it up, you can tell what the service address is, etc. It's just giving you a little bit of a recap, right? But it's telling you that it's been assigned, who it's been assigned to, that it's a repair type, and that it's a medium priority. So we have this ability to be able to, set priorities, set what type of service call it is. There's lots of different configurability, if you will, within the solution itself. Just also want to just call out the service map right now. So there is a lot of geolocation capabilities within the system. There's not a ton of data in the system, but think about it if you had service calls all over a given area, over a given state, over a given region. And then you'd be able to see the different activities that were scheduled in the various regions. And then you would see an overlay of where all your technicians were for purposes of being able to say, hey, who is this? This is probably Brian. But I can kind of drill in and see who's there. And I can create a service call from here. I can do filtering on locations, etc. So a lot of functionality in there. It's not really rendering as well as it could through this demo system, but let's do this. We now have Brian, aka Zach, or Zach, aka Brian, assigned a service call. So Zach, would you mind taking us through now the kind of the execution on the handheld? A, the fact that there is a handheld application available, and B, just kind of how a day in the life of an execution of a service call would go.
So as Ralph mentioned, I'm logged in as Brian Paulson. I'm a technician. This is the field service management mobile application. I'm currently doing this demonstration on my iPad. And when Brian first logs in, his home dashboard screen, he sees all the assignments that he has for today. So consider assignments your tickets. And as I'm just looking throughout my home dashboard screen on the left-hand side, there's some different insight and information that I can view and have information at my fingertips. So as I scroll down, I can see activities that are related to me and my team members. I have my contact information for different clients, as well as these are my customers and the business partner. If I scroll down a little bit more, you can see the different item and equipment tracking. So if I wanted to drill into my items that I have, I can see all what's in stock, favorites that I use currently, etc., as well as some more information such as I can view all the efforts that I did by calendar day and track my labor work. I can see the expenses that I've populated and what's their status for maybe a reimbursement, etc. So I have the beauty of the field service management application is having all this access with me at all times. Now, what's great about the solution as well is it works online and offline. So, for example, I'm located in Pittsburgh. We just had tornadoes come through, and a lot of the area that I'm located in does not have power. So I can still enter and work offline. And then when I do receive power, I can do a sync. And all of your data is stored on backups and it's encrypted. So you truly can capture everything that you need being a technician out in the field, whether you have internet connection or not. So again, home dashboard. This is today. This is my assignment. You can see that this is real-time information that came through. This is the assignment from Ralph's service call. If I wanted to go into service calls, you can see that it syncs as well. If I can drill into that information, I can see what Ralph assigned me as a dispatcher. It shows the link objects that I'll be working with in my reserve materials. It has the planning information and the equipment, as well as purchase order details. So now I want to execute this assignment to install this pump. And Brian Paulson is located in Houston. However, the site that he has to go to on Polk Street is about 10 miles away. So he's going to select travel and confirm that travel information. And you can see because I'm working online, I have to wait for my sync information. Full transparency, this is SAP's demo environment. So the way they have the sync settings is like every 2 seconds to capture that information. You can set the sync settings to your preference as a user. Now that information has sunk over, I'll select continue and it will take me to the site. Again, having that map, that geographic information, has my customer as well as their address information and my contact. So I'm at the site. I just met with Joe. He took me to the pump that needs to be installed at work location. And now it's time to execute this assignment and start working on it. By selecting work, I'm going to confirm that I'm starting this assignment or ticket. Again, we have our sync notification, so I'll wait for the quick sync here. You can see in the upper right-hand corner the refresh reel going. So it shows me what's been sunk, and I'll continue this execution. I see the reserve materials that were already placed on site for me. I can drill into that reserve material, view the information that it's available. And with this plus icon, we can capture a lot of information. So as I'm working, I can place attachments, whether that's documentation, instructions, etc. I have my smart form and feedback information. So you'll see when I complete the execution and ready to finalize everything, that I'm viewing the summary and signing off. I'll enter my effort, my expenses, maybe there's follow-up activity, etc. A lot of things that you can capture just with the click of a button. So
yeah, Zach, I just wanted to point
Yep.
out there on attachments, you didn't specifically call out, but that ability to be able to take a picture of things and attach it to the service call is there.
Yes. Thank you, Ralph. Appreciate it. So now let's enter my effort. So this will pull up my effort screen on the right-hand side. I can define my effort type, whether, and you can certainly configure your different effort types. This is just demo environment, but I'll set that this is just a standard service. Any notes or internal remarks that I may have. Is this chargeable or not? So for example, I'm working on a client site, I'm going to make my time chargeable, but if you were to use field service management for internal purposes and do not want to charge this time, you would leave that checked off. Here's my working time. It pulls through what Ralph scheduled for me as a dispatcher. Certainly I can change the time based off of how long I actually work and execute the information. I can enter break information. So for example, if there's a lunch break, if I need to go out and grab a meal and be able to capture that time. So when you're doing resource utilization, where all your time is going, you can see the different blocks and variations. You can repeat this to drive efficiency, and certainly I'm Brian Paulson entering this time. Below, if this is just a manual time entry, if you want to actually capture the amount of time at a granular level, you can do the stopwatch functionality that you can click start and stop, and it will capture how long it took you to fulfill that execution. But once my effort is complete, I'll save that and it will add it to the ticket. It'll give me a summation, good to go, and we'll go back. A couple other things I'd like to add. Because I traveled to this site, I want to enter my mileage and my expenses based off of per diem. So again, I'll click the plus icon on the right-hand side. I'll select expense. I'll define my expense type. Again, you can have as many different type expense types that are geared towards CMC. For this example, let's say it's a meal. I'll do my currency, US dollars. Could be an internal meal or an external meal. We will charge this meal to the client. They said that they would pay for my lunch. We'll say it's $20 and it's chargeable. I can add a picture of the receipt and any notes that need be. So let's say, I'll just say this was for lunch. So I captured my daily expense while being on site. We'll hit save, and just like the time, it gives me a summation of my overall expense report. Finally, I want to capture my mileage for traveling to Seabonnet Industries. You can do from to. It'll take the information from the map and populate that for you if you like that feature. For this example, I'm just going to select 10 miles. It gives me my start and end times here. Excuse me. I can define if it's a private car, if I took an Uber, etc., and any internal remarks. But for today's demonstration example, this will be suffice. So now we just entered our time, our expenses, and our mileage. We executed the work that took place and captured that. And I'm ready to check. This mobile application works online and offline at any location. If you are working offline, What it does is it stores your information as a backup. When you're capturing your inputs, it's encrypted and saved to your database. And when you're back into your office or a location with internet, you would just manually execute the sync, and it would capture all the information that you plugged in and send it back to and record it in your field service application overall. So now I'm ready to check out. I'll select checkout. I'm confirming that I completed this assignment. It gives me a quick effort summation one more time. We'll save. And it lets me know that I'm done. So I'll preview the report. This is a final quick summation. I'll say later. Generates the report. I can see who I worked for. So I did it for C-Bonnet Industries. It has my contact information, the contact that I worked with, its address. It's capturing my efforts. So this is my time clock overall that we plugged in. If I scroll down, it captured my lunch expense with the description for $20. And it also captured my mileage for reimbursement of 10 miles. Everything looks good to go. So I'll click here to sign. I'll give my John Hancock here and select save. Select done, and it captures that information. Finally, I'll close out this ticket and confirm that final close. The automatic sync is taking place. Apple wants me to know how I love the field service mobile application. Of course, it's a 5-star. Click OK, and it's sunk through and ready to go and sent back to Ralph from dispatching that he can view this information. So I'll go ahead and stop sharing, and Ralph, you are all set to go and take it over. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Zach. Yes, it does work in an offline mode. Obviously, I don't think, Zach, I don't think you can create a service call there, right? It's mainly execution. So you would need to be, syncing before, at the beginning of the day to go grab your assignments for the day and then execute on them. But other than that, it's super rich, super functional. What most customers ask for is, can I capture that customer signature? Can I capture pictures? Can I capture expenses, materials, etc.? And the answer is yes on all of those. So when I come back, I'm going to see, let's just look at the results here of what Zach's work was. You can have different color coding so that as activities are being created, you can kind of have these things kind of gray out. This particular demo system doesn't have that. But let's go ahead and take a look at this particular installation that Zach just did. Here I can see all the information about it. And I'm going to go ahead and open the details related to that particular service call. Oh, here you go. It actually did update now. So there's your installed pump on site. As I take a look at it, the reserve materials, attachments. So here you can see the PDF that was generated. If I want to take a look at that, I can go ahead and take a look at it. Signed by Zach. You can always tell Zach's signature on things. A journal, so it's telling us anything, what was 1 chargeable hour, 15 minutes non-chargeable, $20 chargeable in terms of expenses, $20 chargeable in terms of miles, and then the history on it as well. So really what you're getting is a comprehensively integrated solution that allows you to create, the environment in terms of people, equipment, customers, etc., that allow you to go ahead and service your customers. There's lots of different screens, lots of different things to go into, but as I take a look at the time and material journal, here's the time and material journal. This one was from Sophie some period of time ago. But as I look back and I want to take a look at any of the rest of it, I do have a lot of analytics and reporting. I have various dashboards. So if I do my demo dashboard, and I can, I can have the top 10 most serviced customers. I can have open assignments by customer. I can see my sales sales volume. So as as you take a look at it and you start to take a look at it and using it in multiple facets of the business, either external, internal, on your plant maintenance, you do have this ability to be able to kind of analyze the data in the service module as it's rolling through. Now, obviously, the result of all that activity, when you have an ERP in place, is to come back and feed the system back. So as we take a look at it, we can see that the fact that Zach completed that activity is flagging it as complete. It's now open and available for invoicing. And if I wanted to drill into that and kind of have that visual of where we are on it, you can see the pricing, the duration. It was planned for 2 hours. It took them 2 hours. Had $41 worth of costs and price associated with it. If I wanted to take a look at the confirmations that had come back, I can go ahead and see those as well. And it's giving you all the information that you need on that particular service order. At that point, then it becomes available for billing. Obviously, if it's warranty work, there's going to be no invoice. If it's internal, there's no invoice. But if it is a billable type call, you then can take it through the billing process. So I think that's what we intended, Brian. That's what we intended to show from the software perspective today. Hopefully that was gave everybody kind of a good glimpse. Again, what